Hello everyone. I'm happy to be here today with Mathieu, William, and Ad to walk you through the hottest features of the 4D v19 R6. So let's get started.
Today's program will cover 4 topics: development-related features, 4D Write Pro, 4D View Pro, and 4D for mobile. After each topic, we'll do a short break to answer your questions. The product team members are also connected with us today to answer all your questions during the webinar. You can use the question and answer Q&A box in your Zoom screen for that matter. So let's get started with the first topic that will be presented by Will.
First topic is going to be the news for you, the news you can use, developer news. And the first, so harness the power of white space when designing your list boxes with horizontal and vertical padding. In addition to giving your list boxes new presentation possibilities and an even more professional look to your UI, they will help maintain focus, improve visual organization, and increase readability of your list box. Now, these properties can be set globally for the whole list box or for each element like a column, header, or footer. Once defined for a list box, they will be applied to every sub-object of the list box by inheritance. But of course, each sub-object can have its own settings. And setting the padding can be done either via design mode under the list properties get or coordinates and sizing by programming using listbox set property and the new constant LK cell horizontal padding and LK cell vertical padding. Here's a quick demo to show how it looks. Here's the horizontal padding. You see you can play all around with it. And you can get the pixels that you added padding, and the same for the vertical padding, the header, columns. So it's a very cool feature. And I know Ad has been waiting for this feature for a long time, and he's really happy to be able to do it, to use it, to add the padding. So, and if you're one of the developers who ask for the possibility to work simultaneously with teammates on a single development server, then 4D v19 R6 will grant you your wish, thanks to a new mode for connecting to a 4D client, for connecting a 4D client to a 4D server, development mode. Now, in development mode, developers can modify the database structure, methods, forms, and settings. And we changed the locking system to provide the same functionality as you had in team developer mode or binary mode. So in good news for those of you that still develop in binary mode, you can now adopt project mode without impacting your organization and benefit from project mode's exclusive features like silicon compilation, CSS forms, classes, computed attributes, and when you're ready, source control systems like Git. And to continue improving the syntax and functionality of 4D, we've decided to modernize the HTTP client commands in 4D. Now, as a result, the first set of HTTP classes comes with is being delivered with 19R6. Now, this is only a start. More functionalities will be coming with future releases. And here's a really cool demo on how HTTP requests can be either done synchronously, asynchronously in parallel, or asynchronously loading via callbacks. So here's a map of France. If you do it synchronously, one after the other, it takes longer. And you'll see the asynchronous and the callbacks, and the asynchronous with callbacks go faster. It's not frozen. It just takes a while. There we go. I can clear it. There you go. Asynchronously with parallel. Clear it. We're going to do loading with the callbacks. And the how do I is a great example from the log, is a great example of how this works in a really simple way using getting weather, using a weather API. Now, so you need larger numbers, larger integers, larger than 2 billion or 32 bits with high accuracy. Like say you have a really big counter, or you want to store the number of drops of water in each ocean, right? Now, we've enhanced reals to the reel to allow you to handle this use case. Now, in 19R6, real numbers are up to 53 bits, meaning that you can go from about -9 quadrillion to -9 quadrillion with great accuracy when you store your integers in a real. Now, converting to or from text was limited to 12-digit scientific notation, resulting in a loss of precision. Now, with 40v19r6, we have improved the accuracy and conversion as well of any real number being represented as an integer into text. The improvements of this conversion to string concern the string command and the JSON and XML commands returning numbers in string form. Now, in 4019R6, there is a simpler way to use collections with the member method that needs a callback method. Now, 40 allows you to use a formula to define callbacks in the collection member functions, like every, filter, find, sort, etc. And you can use these in the execute method in subform, command, call form, and your call worker commands. This allows you to simplify your code and to maybe reduce the amount of individual methods you have to do for those little things that you're doing with your collections. Here's a cool thing. So you say you have a list of, so you have a collection of numbers and you want to put it into a, say, a JSON style object. You can do it that way. You can take your collection and you can calculate certain values of the collection in a one-liner. It's very cool. And it's really fast. You can also use this. You can use this in many different ways. You can use it to find elements. So in a collection of countries, which countries are in Asia, for example. And you can use it to increment the values in subforms, for example. So many different ways and many ways to simplify your code. The Data Explorer allows you to view, sort, and query your database using a modern, simple, and elegant web interface. And the Data Explorer comes standard in all modern versions of 4D. So with 4D v19r6, the Data Explorer is continuing to evolve. You can now visualize the relations in your data. And here's a quick video demonstration about how this works.
So now we move to questions.
Okay, do we have questions? No question for the moment. Anyway, we have time until the end of this webinar. Apparently, everything was clear. Okay. Where do you get one of the shirts? It's from the company, you know. Maybe we can open a store for you to get them. I'll pass the word. Okay, we can go to Right Pro.
So next topic we're going to talk about is 4D Right Pro, and I'm going to pass the mic to Ad so he can kind of give you an overview as to all of the great new features in 4D Right Pro and what an amazing engine it's document producing engine it's become. Ad?
Thanks, Will. Hi, everybody. So for the Right Pro feature for this release, really focus on the efficient way to process and generate a document. We have added several features, and one of the features that we really think is going to be very helpful to you, especially for those who are familiar with document processing, mail merge, for example, or any type of batch operation that will produce multiple documents based on your data set would be benefit from this particular feature. So let's take a look at the first example. Now we'll give you a simple way to bind your data. I will call it creating a context to your document. So a document can be bound to an entity, for example. In this example, you'll see that there are several references to an entity that is coming from our data class. The keyword this and .data, that's to signify where you want to load or print the data into your document. Once you have created those references into your document, you can simply run a code to populate the data. So let's go to the next slide. That will be a little bit more clearer what it looks like. So for this slide, you'll see right away that we're utilizing for each, and this will go through the loop of each entity within the entity selection. Every entity will bind that data using the command set data context to create a context within a document. And the next thing that we need to do is just do the command w preprint. For example, if you want to generate the document either to the your printer, your output somewhere else into a file, that can be done easily. Let's go to the next example. This is another example that we're all familiar with. We have a selection of data that we want to print into multiple entries. In this particular example, is kind of similar to the last one, except that we can actually bind our data context to not only to the document, but to parts of your document. In this example, you'll see that in the middle, there's a table there. That table represents a selection of your entity. And with the information that we bind to the table, we'll be able to print all of the entity, each entity within the selection into the document. If you look on the right side, you'll see that there are 9 pages altogether. And 4D Pro is smart enough to be able to break it up into which part that needs to be printed. And every time a page break happens, it continues on with the next page until the rest is printed. Next one. This one is also similar. Not only you can bind the context to the whole document to a single table, each table can have its own context as well. So you'll be able to create multiple contexts within your single document. We give this example 2 tables. The top table has one set of entities that deals with a certain information, departure, and the bottom one deal with arrival of the cars. So in the way you will have the freedom in order to bind your data into your document and print it according to your preferences. Next example. So this is something that's quite familiar to all of us. We do print selection. At least myself, I've done quite a bit with what I do, and it's something that is familiar with many of you as well. So you have the header section of your document or your printout. The midsection would be your detail where you print all of the data. You have a header of each column. At the bottom, you may have something that represents the summation of some of your data. So in this case, we use 4D Pro to generate sort of a same type of printout that is generated by print selection. On the top, we bind it to the whole context of 4D document with the main entity. The next part will be the table containing your related entities. All this entity selection, and you can see right away at the top there's a header row. The white row area there, that's where it's going to be repeated as many times as you have in your entity. And the bottom would be the last section where all of the summation, the conclusion of your document that you want to print. So if we run the code to generate this document, this is what it's going to look like. So you can see right away on the top, there's a header, and as well as there's a header row representing each column, as well as the data that gets repeated, similar to print selection. And finally, at the bottom, you'll see the conclusion of your printout where it printed all of the totals, maximum value, average, and minimum value. Okay. We have another similar example. So this one kind of, quite similar, but sometimes when you print selection, you might have the data selection that cannot fit in one page. So it's going to flood over to the next page. So in this case, we created an example that's similar to the last one. So let's go ahead and play this example. You see right away that at the top section here, we have some name, address, as well as the table that starts from the top. So as we're printing, if the data requires additional page break is going to happen. immediately 4D Write Pro will recognize that, oh, it needs to print the header for the next page. And it's going to do that for you automatically without having to do anything else. Okay, let's go next. So this is kind of a unique feature. You know, there are many use cases that you can use out of this. 4D Write Pro can now generate an SVG file for you, whether the whole document or individual page that you can use. I can already imagine some of you may need to implement something that allows you to see sort of a thumbnail on the right side or the left side of the 4D Write screen that allows you to click very easily to navigate your document very quickly. So you can use this feature to generate an SVG version of your 4D Write of each page. This way, you have a much more control over you know, the information that's going to go out. And plus, you know, you can also bring them back in and compose them and print it out into PDF if you want. Now, it's also, I want to highlight some of the past features that's already been available as well, which is the ability to create a PDF as well as generate a Word document that is already available in the earlier version of the feature release of 4D Write Pro. This is something that's quite useful for many people who wants to be able to exchange the document within 4D application and other application outside of 4D. Next, please. Okay, and the feature that you're looking at here, this is quite unique when you're dealing with pictures on a 4D Write document. Sometimes if you compose your 4D Write document in the way that is showing up in line, 4D Write document will try its best to render all of the images. What happened when the image is not supported or the format for that particular format, or if the image is missing. You're going to see right away on the top of that document, you'll see a little small rectangle representing an empty picture. So we'll go ahead and hit play. Now, with this feature, you'll be able to display your document, even though I'll be able to hide that rectangle representing an empty picture or unsupported picture. Most of the time, you kind of don't want that because it just kind of destroys the layout of your document. So this feature comes in very handy. It automatically happens, and you can control this feature through multiple options. One of them is from the property list. You can also control this feature manually through one of the 4D Write Pro widget menu option or the toolbar that is available through our object library, or you can do it programmatically through our 4D Write Pro language. Okay, so I think this one is going to be quite useful for many of you who's dealing with images within your 4D Write Pro document.
Okay, so let's move to questions.
Yes. So we have one question: which image formats are supported? I guess pretty much all standard image formats are supported in Write Pro, but maybe Roland could give us more data. Yeah, Roland is gonna answer. Same as 4D, okay. Another question from the same person, HEIC. I don't know that.
Maybe our 4D Write Pro wizard can answer, Roland.
Yeah. It's an Apple image format. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay. Okay, answers are going. Does the data link work with multi-style text variables? I'm pretty sure Roland has the answer as well. All right, while Roland answers, maybe we can go through 4D View Pro.
Yeah.
The answer was no for multi-style text variable. Maybe a feature request could do the trick. Okay, you can continue to ask questions in the Q&A window, and we are gonna go through 4D View Pro features now.
Yeah.
And now, let's talk about the 4D View Pro news. So 4D View Pro is 4D's 4D View Pro is 4D's spreadsheeting application, built-in spreadsheeting application that's built on top of a super robust JavaScript framework, Spread.js. And this is a big new feature in 4D View Pro. So 4D View Pro already allows you to easily load and display data in spreadsheets. 4D v19 R6 brings a new table feature that enables you to do much more and benefit from additional property like headers, table resize, summary row, column sorting, filters, and more. This feature allows you to also quickly load data from data classes and collection. Say hello to the VP create table command. You can use this to say which column, oh yeah. Oh, here's a quick, see here you have the table, initialize the table. You can have next. You can have the table based on a customer. You can create a table here, and you can have your table created inside of your 4D View Pro area. And you can also say which columns you'd like in your table with this sort of simple logic. So you can even have this be a report generator type of thing where you can say, oh, I'd like to show these things in this table. I'd like not to show these things. And then you would then be able to export it out to Excel. Pretty cool. And for further reading about 4D View Pro, I'd like to invite you to read Ty's most recent tech notes, Working with Tables. It not only discusses tables, but also gives a great introduction about the built-in features in 4D View Pro and how it can help you easily develop features for your end users that have some major impact. So if you haven't already read it, I would grab it.
Yes. Questions once again. Not a lot of questions today. It's very quiet.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
Monday.
So yeah, maybe we move to the next topic. And if there are any questions, you can always use the Q&A box.
Exactly. 4D for mobile.
4D for mobile is 4D's low-code editor to create native iOS and Android applications. 4D for iOS and 4D for Android. And as you probably already know, aliases have been available for some time in 4D. The introduction of aliases and computed attributes was a massive step forward in our development framework. The days of defining business-related formulas in your 4D user interface are over. These concepts offer you a new way to separate your business logic from your UI, enabling you to improve performance by optimizing these parts separately. And now with 40v19 R6, aliases are fully available and ready to use for scalers in your iOS and Android mobile projects as soon as they're defined on the 4D side. Now with 40v19 R6, you can display the same mobile screen values anywhere in your database. It's very cool. So write once, use many places. Now with every feature release, we also ship new features to 40 for Android. And 40v19 R6 is no exception with these two new additions. Now in 40 for Android, you have the possibility for the management of offline actions in the same use case as you have in 40 for iOS. And you have the possibility of not regenerating the data at each generation of the mobile application. And this helps you save time. We've seen that it helps save a lot of time in application development. It's a quick demo of how to do, how it looks.
And we move again to questions.
Yes. It's the last question moment for today. So if you have some, it's the moment. In the past, 4D advised against putting our releases into production environments, perhaps in the very past, in that case, I guess. Since I have an immediate need for the Office 365 OAuth functions, can I put the R6 into production, or do I better wait for a new 19.x release? It depends on your, let's say, process. You can put an R6, for example, into production, and that was also a word that I wanted to spread in conclusion, is that now you benefit from a monthly hotfix for our releases. So I think it pretty much fits with putting an R release in production. So of course, it's slightly different from LTS. You don't get as many, let's say, hotfixes than LTS, or as many nightly builds, for example. But if you want to benefit from this kind of new feature, I would recommend to go to put an R6 in production. How come there is no documentation or guide on doing build pipelines or releases through Azure or GitHub? It is supported, but very poor documentation. We have some blog posts about it. And you should see things coming about pipelines in a short time. We have things coming. Okay, well, I take the remark. All right. All right. That's it. I think we can go to the thank you slide. As I was saying just before, I wanted to remind you that now feature release since R4 are now receiving monthly hotfixes. Those hotfixes are focusing on bug fixes related to deployment, but it's a very good, let's say, asset that allows you to use our releases in production, for example, and benefit every 3 months from new features. Anyway, and as always, if you have any question, you can go to our forum on discuss.com and we'll be very happy to help. Thank you for your attendance today and see you in a few months with 4D v19 R7. And thank you to everyone.